Floridians know the cost of hurricane destruction. Last season, we got lucky. But luck doesn't protect your home. Fortunately, Storm Smart has dependable custom hurricane protection products. Hurricane screens, accordion shutters, aluminum roll-down shutters, flood mitigation systems. Because protected beats lucky every time. Be safe, be smart, be Storm Smart.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by Storm Smart. Protect every opening of your home.
How you doing, everybody? It's 7:30 on a Thursday evening. I'm Tampa Bay 28 Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips. Welcome to Dennis Phillips Live. Now, y'all know when we typically get going on this, we talk a little bit about weather, we talk a little bit about everything. You guys give me the lightning scores and whatnot. But tonight, so we have a guest in the house, and we don't want to make them wait. We don't want to keep you waiting, because this weekend, actually starting tomorrow through Saturday, is at the Hillsborough County Fairgrounds. And I'm just going to go ahead and take this for you so you can kind of see here on their website. So it is the Tampa Bay Rodeo and
Family Festival.
Family Festival. Okay, there it goes. And that's one of the people who's going to be talking. But that is tomorrow and Saturday. It is Florida's hottest show on dirt. So we've been talking about it, and it's actually sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And here's their website. It's under tamparodeo.com. So you can kind of scroll through it. You can get tickets and whatnot. And as you see here, it is a full rodeo. So Wendy Ryan, who is not here and is going to be devastated, because Wendy Ryan, I told her that the rodeo is in town, and she's like, do you think we'll have a real cowboy? I said, I bet they're going to have a real cowboy. She goes, is he going to have a hat? I go, Wendy, I think the two go hand in hand. If you're a real cowboy, you got to have a hat. She wanted to meet a real cowboy. But alas, Wendy is at her dinner break, so I'm looking back in the studio, and she's not there, so she's going to miss on the real cowboy. You are not. You guys are going to see everything they have going on here. They have a Now, are you going to be able to ride the mechanical bull?
Yes, there are.
Yes, so you'll be able to ride the mechanical bull. So there's lots of food. There's lots of games. There's cowboys. There's roping. This is at the fairgrounds starting. The gates open tomorrow at 4:30. Same thing on Saturday. And the full rodeo starts at 7 o'clock. So this is on the website. But, you know, the websites are awesome and all, but it's going to be a lot better just to kind of see it in person. So here's what I'm going to do. Go ahead and take that, and I'm going to walk on over here. Jonathan, go ahead and take the other shot. And here you go. So first of all, who do we have here?
Hi, Garrett Underwood.
Garrett, very nice to meet you. I'm staying clear for the time being of the rope, because I'm going to be getting into that in a little bit. And we have
Katie Lombardo. Nice to see you.
Katie, nice to see you. And Katie and Garrett,
yes, sir,
are engaged.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it was so funny, because a couple of minutes ago, Katie was saying over, okay, so you're going to do this, you're going to do this. This is what you're really good at. I go, yeah, they're a perfect.
She's my boss.
Well, and you say that because actually you used to be his boss, right?
I did at one point, yes.
Tell that story. How'd that happen?
I had worked a fair festival and he was part of the entertainment, and he walked into my office to get credentials, and I was like,
and she's like, dang.
Yeehaw.
That's awesome.
and the rest is history.
And that was in Massachusetts, you were saying,
yes.
or up north, which is interesting, because, you know, I always wondered, would a rodeo, would it be as popular maybe in the Northeast as it would be out west, you would think? And you were saying that that's a huge thing up there.
Well, and a lot of times the East Coast doesn't get a whole lot of that like you would on the West Coast. So they eat it up. They love it. Oh my gosh.
It was like, I think you were saying 17 days or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
a lengthy thing. So you've been doing this for how long?
20 years.
Okay.
20 years.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about what folks can expect and how they can get involved, and then you go ahead and show some of the rope tricks and tell me how I can get involved as well.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, this is something, so it's the third year it's been going on, but I think this is what, the 7th time you've had the rodeo? So it's in April and it's in July or June?
Yep,
Yeah,
July.
July. So for folks who have never experienced this, I mean, everything you were telling me earlier, this is a family thing.
Yes, so just outside of the rodeo, it is a family festival. We have lots of animal experiences, and for the first time ever, we also have a tiger and lion experience.
Nice.
And you'll be able to feed the lions and the tigers. No
Oh, dang.
bears.
No
But
bears. Oh my.
We have over 20 different new baby animals, including pigs and baby goats. We also have a monkey and featuring an elephant as well.
Okay.
And we have more circus and carnival rides for the kids, as well as a jump experience for them, and many local vendors on the inside that are selling all different types of good. We also are, we've got everyone's favorite, buttermilk corn dogs.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, matter of fact, I did live shots at the Strawberry Festival, both in Plant City, well, the Strawberry Festival in Plant City and the State Fair at the fairgrounds, and the lines were always longest of anything there for the buttermilk corn dogs, because they're like this long and they're super good.
They're
Yeah.
so good. They're one of my favorites. We'll also have barbecue tacos, fresh Tampa Cuban sandwiches,
Nice.
and so much more to enjoy at the Family Festival, even outside of the rodeo.
So that part of it, that runs, the rodeo gets kicking off at like 7 o'clock, I think. Is that what it
Yes.
was? So that's kind of when the gates open. Is that what you're suggesting? Folks go and they do all that stuff, and then once the rodeo starts, it's just pretty much sit right there and watch it? Is that how it works?
Absolutely, and that'll still be open even while the rodeo is going on. If you've got little antsy kids and they need to go pet a goat in between some bronc riding, you know,
Oh.
it's a perfect thing to do.
Speaking of which, too, you said there's a mechanical bull there as well, right?
Yes.
So Stokes, have you ever done that?
I actually hold the champion of mechanical bull riding
She's
right now.
incredible.
Really?
Incredible. I can't beat her.
My longest is 3 minutes.
And they have the little dial thing that turns it
yeah.
up, and they've got like the joystick where they can move it, and they still can't knock you off.
No.
Dang.
And there's certain levels to it, and man, she's gotten to the really, really hard level of that stage of the bull bucking. I mean,
Be
she's.
surprised I haven't gotten on a real one by now.
I'm telling you.
And you're a Tampa girl.
Yes, born and raised.
So how did you get that skill?
Oh man, well, my father's also in the entertainment world,
Okay.
and I started walking on a ball at a very young age, so I had the balance, and then once I started working out, it's really just a lot of balance.
Yeah.
It's all in the hips.
It's all in the hips, all in the hips. So that's what's going on both Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And so when he's out there, I'm curious, do you ever get nervous? Do you ever worry about, I mean, because we talked about this. I mean, these animals are large, powerful animals, and I always wondered, you know, is that something that goes through your mind? I mean, I guess you can't ever have fear when you do that sort of thing, because that's the first thing that will go wrong when you're nervous or you're scared.
Well, so what I do is I am that break in between. So I'm the specialty entertainment. So while the stock contractor has to load up the bulls or switch around the bulls or load up the broncs in the chutes, I'm that little filler so there's not dead space.
Makes sense.
So I don't ever have to worry about them.
So you haven't had to do that? Is it something you've ever tried?
I rode saddle bronc riding horses for a little bit, and I was not good at it. And I team roped for many years, and that was really fun. But it gets costly going up and down the road, you know, just pulling them horses, and it's.
And you said that your family, I mean, you grew up on this. I mean, you are a real cowboy, but
Yes, sir.
back from the Four Corners area, from back in New Mexico, right?
Yes, sir.
Starting in
Yes,
New Mexico?
sir. Yeah, my family run a big cattle operation out there, run Black Angus, and they've been very successful. Very successful.
And so how do you get into this part of the business? What was your journey?
My mom actually got me started at the age of 14. She was getting trick riding lessons, and just a brush up. She had already trick rode as a little girl before, and she was like, I really want you to learn to do this. And so at the age of 14, I started my career with it, and I already knew how to trick rope. I was always pretty handy with a rope. So, you know, you just learn from multiple trick ropers throughout your journey, and you just pick up skill after skill or trick after trick or whatever. And with the trick riding, I really dove, I hit that really hard.
Yeah.
I loved it.
You love doing it.
Oh man, that's my bread and butter. It's, and I've been doing that, yeah, 20 years.
Well, let's see some of it. And you were saying there was something I was going to be able to help out at some point?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I got a whip.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, we'll start out with this. Got a little butterfly. This is your basic trick.
Looks like it's the wrist, like you're snapping.
Yep, so it's pretty much making a figure 8. And then with that butterfly, I can just change the rotation of it. And do all that. Here's a little push off.
Let's get a little yeehaw.
All right, here's a cool one. I'll wrap that rope around, and then I jumped the spoke of my rope. Did you see that?
I did.
I love that.
How much practice? I mean, do you still practice this stuff, or do you just know it so well now you don't even need to?
Ropes are not forgiving, so you've constantly got to practice. My trick riding, I've got that down pretty good.
We were actually went to the beach, a few different beaches leading up to this weekend,
This
and we were.
flat loop.
He was just roping on the beach. And
Oh, I
promoting,
bet
we were
peop-
just promoting. People
I bet the
loved
ladies
it.
loved that.
Oh my gosh.
You're
we
like,
had-
no, sorry, he's mine. Yeah, and that must be hard on the beach too, because you're in the sand.
Oh,
right?
And it's
man.
windy.
That sand
the
is
wind,
tough.
yeah.
And anytime we feel with humidity, the ropes actually get heavier too, so it makes it harder for them to manipulate.
Yeah. I mean, it looks tiring. I mean, it looks, I don't know, maybe you've just got it down, but
It's a shoulder workout, I'm telling you.
yeah, you can see that. So, and not only with the ropes, you have whips as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've heard. And we were actually going to have a Dennis Phillips Live after dark, but in this particular case, this is the family-friendly version. So I see the whip over there. That is that when you like take something out of people's mouths or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
You
do
want
that?
to give it a go?
Yeah, I'm not going to put it
you
in my
ready?
mouth, but I'll hold my hand out there and do something. So you got a rose. All right,
Yes.
so we got a rose.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. All right, here we go.
All right, so what I'm going to have you do.
Have you ever done this where you put this in your mouth and let
She
him do
has
it?
not.
I have not in my
You don't
mouth.
trust him? Then why the heck am I trusting him? I'm not.
I've held it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I've not put it in my mouth.
All right.
So let's see.
Which way?
Put the rose in that hand
Okay.
and face me and bring it. There we go. Scoot this way a little bit. That way towards the screen.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Oh man, I see bloopers all over this one.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Here we go.
My boss right now is probably like, "What's he doing?" Oh, that's
One
piece of
shot.
cake. Awesome. Nice
There you
job.
go.
That was. And I mean, be honest, were you aiming for that right for where the flower was, or
yeah.
were you like,
These little poppers will cut that right in half.
that is amazing. Look at this. All right.
There's
Here you
your
go.
souvenir.
There's your boutonniere.
Oh, thank you.
That is awesome. That is great. Well, so, and all right, I got to ask you then, how many limbs did you take off before?
Well, I am missing a finger
Oh.
now. I'm kidding.
I saw it for a second. I'm like, wait a minute. All right. So we've got tomorrow and we've got Saturday. Talk a little bit about the events that go on in the rodeo as well, because we were talking about this earlier. I've watched it on TV.
Right.
I'll be flipping through the channels, and all of a sudden I'll see a rodeo, and there's the big one out in Vegas that I happen to notice, and the crowds go crazy.
Oh, it's huge. Everybody from the whole U.S. just gathers up right there. I mean, it is huge. But it's a good time. Vegas is fun.
So the events this weekend, what kind of events would people see this weekend?
So you'll see calf roping, team roping, saddle bronc riding, probably bareback riding, barrel racing. Let's see, what else do we have?
Is it more of an exhibition?
Yeah,
or
so
is
they're
it
all
more of a competition?
It's a competition,
Okay.
and it's all timed events.
Right.
So it's great. I love it. It's so much fun. But it's going to be a good time.
All right.
It's going to be a good time.
That is this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday. So remind the folks again one more time how they can get tickets.
Yes, you can go to tamparodeo.com, and we are selling out fast because, as you see, we are having great weather this weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, finally, no rain.
Yes,
So that would have been
thank
terrible.
And also, we will have a hat shaper there from Texas, which is really cool. I'm glad they really integrated that in. Get
Explain what that
little
is.
Texas twist to it.
Yeah.
So, so we've got felt hats, really nice felt hats. They come in straw felt, and your felts get better with quality the more X's in the hats. So better beaver style hats. But it really takes an artistic hand to be able to shape these things. They pretty much just put steam to it, and I mean they can shape the crowns and the brims to whatever shape your heart can desire.
So can you bring your own hat and then have them pay the person?
Oh, yeah.
Or can you buy them there? Or?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah. He's got really nice lids, so
awesome.
It's really cool.
So if you
really
have a hat
cool.
that you want to be shaped, he can do that. Or if you would like to purchase a hat there, you can do that as well, and he can shape it.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad the weather cooperated. That was amazing. Thank you very much.
All right.
Nice seeing you. Good luck. Good seeing you. All right,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Let's go ahead and take WSI, and we'll go over and take a look at what's going on outside right now. That was fun, and I didn't lose a finger or anything. So you know what? Life is good. All right, so anyway, there's a look at what's going on outside. We do have some rain out there, and the showers actually, a quick look at the 7-day here. There it is right there. High temperatures, mid-80s Friday and again on Saturday. But as we mentioned for the rodeo, I think the weather's going to be spectacular. A little cool in the evening, which is what you like. Humidity not real great, which I didn't think about that. Having humidity on the ropes could certainly be an issue. So, yeah, I think everything's going to be really, really nice. 85 tomorrow, 85 Saturday. Sunday, 86. Monday, 87. And then we're going to be up near 90 degrees as we roll in to the middle and latter half of the week. All right, so let's talk, shall we, about the hurricane prediction. All right, so, okay, this is, I don't know, are y'all just more argumentative now than you used to be? I say that in general because so many people, there's been two things that we've been arguing about in the last week. One, have we really been on the moon? That was the one. And apparently a large number of people continue to believe we have not been on the moon. You know what? Whatever. Everybody can think what they want to think. Who am I to judge? That's the first thing, all right? The second thing is, oh, wait a minute. Jennifer wants to know where they get the hats. So they can buy the hats. We're getting comments from people asking where they can get the hats. They'll have them right there in the fair. In the vendor area, there will be hats to purchase there. So there you go. All right. All right. So let's continue talking about this. So, yeah, I'm being still. I don't need any more. All right. Half of the people out there are still saying, oh, we're good now. We're good. Thanks. Half the people out there are still saying, not half, but a number of people saying, we didn't really go to the moon. Where are the stars? Why is the flag sticking out? All right, that's fine. You guys think what y'all want to. Now, but that has been a big debate on my Facebook page. The second big debate was today. Now, I get it. The very first one was, what the heck do people in Colorado know about hurricanes? All right, there is a reason Colorado State actually does this forecast. Let me tell you why. Dr. Bill Gray was the head of the Colorado State climatology/meteorology department. Honestly, I'm not sure which it was. It may have been climatology, it may be meteorology, I don't remember. But he was the first person to recognize the relationship between El Nino and hurricane season in the Atlantic. All right, he figured that part out. And that kind of turned him into the guy. He became the dean of hurricane season and in long-range forecasting. So when he passed away, and I know I've told this story because I was at a hurricane conference, and by the way, I found out when it was. It was back in early 2000s, I think, because I got in a cab with a guy and his mom, a kid and his mom, who I think the kid might have been 13 or 14 years old. Turns out he was 24. It was Phil Klotzbach. So I'm telling you, I got in that cab and I thought he was 13. So, I mean, he was Doogie Howser in the meteorology world. And I know this because I met him a couple months ago again at a hurricane thing I did, and we talked about it. And I said, how old were you back then? He's like, yeah, I was 24. I'm like, dang, you looked young. And he was with his mom. So I literally thought, but anyway, point is, he was the protege to Bill Gray, and he was the wonder kid. You know, he was the super smart kid who knew so much about all of that, and he took over for Dr. Gray when he passed away. So Phil Klotzbach now runs that department, all right? So these are the numbers that came out from Colorado State. And y'all know my take on this. Look, no disrespect intended to anybody, but I think long-range hurricane prediction is a waste of time. I'm not interested in it. I don't think, and let me tell you why. And I even, you know what, and I mentioned this to Phil when I saw him a couple months ago. And his response was legit. His response was very honest. He goes, look, there is because my point is, why do you do these? What's the point? In what way, shape, or form are these beneficial to society? And here was my response. I said, in my opinion, when the projections are lower than average, I would make the argument people might not prepare as much as they would if they were expecting a busy season, and vice versa. If it's a busy season expected and we don't get much, then you lose the trust factor. So by definition, I have issues with long-range hurricane forecasting. Forget whether or not they're accurate or not. I just have an issue with the concept of it in general. They updated June 1st. They updated August 1st. So, I mean, we go through time, and whether they're valuable, and this is where he came up. He goes, there's always an interest in it. And you know what? He's right. In my opinion, I think he is right. People are interested in these long-range predictions. Now, do they take them with a grain of salt? I think they should if they don't. Are they particularly accurate? I mean, look, let's be honest. If 15 is the average number of storms and the prediction is usually anywhere between 12 and 18 or 19, how wrong are you going to be anyway? And NOAA doesn't even give a specific number. NOAA gives a range. So I would be willing to, I don't need this, that changed up on there. Let me go ahead and flip back. NOAA usually, and in fact, I'll tell you pretty much what I think exactly what they're going to say. NOAA will probably forecast, I would say, 12 to 16 named storms. That's going to be NOAA's prediction. They released it at the end of May. 12 to 16 is probably, maybe 11 to 15, probably 12 to 16. And they'll probably go with, I don't know, 6 hurricanes and 2 majors. So write that down, because I'm just throwing it out there, and the point is, it's going to be really close. So people are like, well, what's the point if we kind of know what it's going to be around anyway? If there's an El Nino, which there is, and you know what, I can show you this graphic. I showed it to you yesterday, but I can show it to you again. This is why El Nino is such a big thing when it comes to tropical systems. Because you have this area of warm water off the coast of South America. Now, the warmer the water, the more significant the event. And some of the models, the Euro and 1 is saying it's going to be 3 degrees above average, which would be considered a super El Nino. All right? So that's kind of what the models are hinting at. So whether you want to call it a super, I don't like those descriptors. I'm not a fan of the adjectives that are super, Godzilla, bomb cyclone. I don't like them. I think they borderline on hype, and I don't. That's not me. You guys know that. So, in my opinion, I don't like to use them. So let's just say if we have an El Nino, a significant one that's about 3 degrees above average, and if it lingers into the wintertime, it's going to be a good thing for us because you'll get a lot of rain. You will get a lot of, we had one a few years ago in the wintertime, and we had a ton of rain. So with an El Nino, if it lingers into the winter, we are going to see rain, and probably a good bit, all right? But in hurricane season, this same phenomenon creates much stronger upper level winds, and upper level winds minimize the development of hurricanes. It's in the tropical Atlantic. We had an El Nino a couple years ago. We did not have a single named storm in the Caribbean in hurricane season. So it really does the trick. However, and I'm going to say this again, however, the Gulf is different. And El Nino has less of an impact on storms that originate or develop in the Gulf. And that is significant because if the Gulf is extremely warm, you can very easily have development of low pressure and hurricanes develop in that area. AccuWeather came out with their forecast about a month ago and highlighted the Gulf Coast as a much higher than normal threat due to a developing El Nino. And I'm inclined to agree with them. So when we say lower than normal, we usually mean in the far tropical Atlantic or the Caribbean. But statistically speaking, and I've shown you these numbers over the years, and I can call it up again at some point. Statistically speaking, the west coast of Florida, specifically our area, has not shown a higher or a lower propensity for hurricane development impacting our area directly in an El Nino year. So even though there may be fewer storms forming, the numbers have not translated to fewer landfalling hurricanes in our area. There has not been a relationship. You know, you think to yourself, if there's going to be a lot more storms, the odds are higher that you're going to see a direct impact. That is simply not played out that way. The numbers do not show that. So there you go. So look, as we get closer to hurricane season, you're going to hear more about it. You're going to hear a super La Nina, or El Nino rather. You're going to hear a lot about it. You're going to hear probably fewer storms, and that's probably going to be right. But that does not mean the threat for Florida is significantly lower in the Gulf. Bring back to 1992. Now, somebody mentioned this, and it's a valid point. When we talk about 1992, we talk about Andrew. And that was an El Nino year. But Andrew hit in August of 92, and that El Nino actually started in 91 and continued into the summer of 92. So it was pretty much over by the time Andrew did form. But remember, Andrew was the A storm. The first named storm of the year came in August. So it was a slow season. But if you tell anybody in South Florida it was a slow season in 1992, they'd laugh at you knowing how Andrew was. So that's kind of where we are. Again, I don't put a lot of credence in long-range hurricane forecasting, but as Phil Klotzbach said, there's a curiosity, there's an interest, and I think there is. But the people who go on my Facebook page and say, oh, why are you forecasting long-range? You guys don't get it right a week out. First of all, I don't forecast it that far out because that's not, I don't believe it's worthwhile, and I'm not sure on the science behind it anyway. There's so many other variables that come into play in whether a hurricane is going to develop, not just whether or not you have an El Nino or a La Nina. But there is still an interest, and it's my hope that I try to explain it. Because you go on TikTok, and by the way, hey, TikTok, how you doing? We are streaming on TikTok. You go on TikTok, there's a lot of people, every hurricane, wow, it's going to be the size of the entire ocean, we're all going to die. That is a common TikTok occurrence. We try to minimize that. All right, streamers, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night. We have another guest on Dennis Phillips Live. Hope to see you then. You guys have a great night. All right, so streamers are gone. So let's see what we have going on here, because I have not, I have not looked at any of the comments because I've been busy having roses with a whip taken out of my hand. But let's go ahead and go through the forecast. So temperatures right now, mostly in well, there's your drought numbers, by the way. And the drought numbers also are something else because, you know, this is the new one. It doesn't look any different, really, for the most part. Does not look any different than it did last week, nor will it. I just don't expect much of a change at all until we get into June. And by the way, we are still getting comments. So as always, I appreciate them. We have got one here. Let's go. Who do we have here? We have got talking about Milton started as a crossover storm from the Pacific and came into the Gulf and headed to Tampa. And that is correct. That's exactly what Milton did. That started, you know, as a weak system that cut across into the Bay of Campeche and turned into, obviously, what we remember, which was a very powerful direct impact. And unfortunately, it also caused all that damage to the trop. So again, I love the little comment feature. I love the little comment bar that we have now. We're still going to work on, let's see, I'm looking here at some of the other comments here. Somebody said there's a brush fire in Largo. So Charlotte is saying that there's a brush fire in Largo, which I did not see. So I can actually call and boy, that's to be expected. I mean, I hate to say it, but unfortunately, when we are in this kind of a pattern and the drought's going to continue, I think it's safe to say, yeah, Charlotte. So yeah, I did not get the message because I have not been checking my messages, but Charlotte, thank you very much. I appreciate it as always, and we will check on that. That's the interaction that we love in DPL. When you guys actually see things that are going on and we can talk about them and follow up. And the minute we're off, I will get right back into our news folks and have them check that out. And if they're listening to me, they can check it out themselves. All right, so anyway, I look at radar right now. There have been a few showers inland, east to west motion. They are fizzling. We've been saying for all week along and east of I-75, and that's pretty much the way this has played out. Tomorrow, drier air comes in, rain chances begin to drop, and I don't think we're going to be seeing rain for the next week. So, wait a minute. Where's Anna Maria? She's at church today, guys. I did not ban her. We're getting justice for Anna Maria. Oh, my heavens. What is wrong with you people? All right. So 72 in Tampa and Riverview, 74 in St. Pete, 70 in Bartow. Highs today. Interesting, because the lower 80s from Tampa to the beach, but mid-70s in Polk County in many spots. That's from that easterly flow that we had. 72 right now, mostly cloudy at the airport. East-northeast winds at 7 miles an hour. There's the satellite. Again, the rain was a little more pronounced earlier on. Now it's kind of fizzling out. And that is certainly a sign of things to come. So tonight, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, more sunshine. Temperatures in the mid-80s. And then I think we're in the upper 80s into the weekend and right into all of next week. I suspect we are going to be right up around that 90-degree mark. So Futurecast kind of shows maybe an isolated shower in a couple of spots, but probably not. Corey's saying, might we see a yellow X in May? You know what, Corey? I think we will. Not unusual at all. About half the time we see those yellow X's, in other words, spots where the NHC is keeping their eyes on for the potential for development. And yeah, it is absolutely possible that we could see that. Sheila, how you doing from Newport Richey? Windy today. How's the weekend looking? The weekend is looking great. This is kind of what we're showing you right now. So mostly sunny skies Saturday and Sunday. Very little chance of any rain and warmer weather. So I'm still not scrolling on Facebook. It is a thing now, but I do have my phone down here so I can look at your comments scrolling through. We're having to use every way we can to keep up with everything. You're welcome, Kathy. So there's a look at the forecast temperatures. Yeah, Ryan, it has been a while. We've missed you. Where have you been? So there's a look at the forecast highs. Through the weekend, mid to upper 80s. Next week, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. And the rainfall forecast, tomorrow, maybe a sprinkler or two, but starting Saturday, we're down to less than 5%, and that continues through all of next week. So there's your forecast. Yeah, Randy, you're right. A nice depression in May would be a great drought buster. You are exactly right. That would be a wonderful thing. And, you know, quite often we see that. It is not the least bit unusual to see a depression pop up in the month of May, and sometimes even in June, and they more often than not can often lead to what we would call a drought buster. So, and there it is. There's his comment. So thank you, Randy. Yeah, and we usually May and June were good because at that point the Gulf is usually not warm enough for us to actually worry about any kind of significant development. But, you know, once we hit July, then we don't really want to see anything in the Gulf because then that's another story. And, you know, and that's when we start to worry about the possibility of something a little more important, a little more significant developing as opposed to in May and June, when usually you're just not going to see that. So anyway, there's your forecast tonight. Tomorrow, the beach looks awesome. Sunny skies most of the day, highs in the mid to upper 70s. And there's the 7-day again. 85 on Friday and Saturday, a little more sunshine on Saturday. Sunday, we're back in the mid to upper 80s, and then I think we're back up to nearly 90 degrees by the beginning of next week. Did my daughter like the macarons? You know what? I have not talked to Ryan yet today. She went directly from school to her dress rehearsal. Her play that she's in is this Friday, Saturday, and I think Sunday too. And so she went right from school to dress rehearsal, so I have been unable to talk to her. However, Wendy Ryan was a big fan of the macarons, and I was schooled yesterday because I always thought they were macaroons, but they're macarons, and they were spectacular. They were so, Wendy and I were talking about that because honestly, I've had macarons, I don't know, 8 or 9 times in my life, and I haven't liked them any because they were always dry and crunchy. I was not a fan. The ones we had last night from the Foodie Fest that's coming up this weekend in St. Pete, they were crispy on the outside, they were chewy once you got them, and they were light. The filling was light and fluffy. Big fan. And Wendy said the same thing. She was a big fan of them as well. Vicki, how you doing? Good to see you. So, Ryan, not necessarily. The only reason an El Nino might make it make it drier for our area in the summer is because there would be fewer storms. And if there were fewer storms, there'd be less of an opportunity for it to get rainfall. I don't buy. I think the Gulf temperature in itself and the smaller features that come into play on a weekly basis or a daily basis are a much bigger indicator of whether or not we're going to have an active rainy season as opposed to a non-active rainy season. Can you see model of GFS early April, see how far it goes out for TDP? You know what? I'll look for you, Corey. I have not looked yet today. Here, let's go ahead and take the 7-day and go ahead and take that question. So who has a question? Oh, look, Corey has a question. So let's go ahead and show everybody, the question. I just like using this little function. I think it's kind of cool. All right, so here we go. And there is the question from Corey. So let's go ahead and look at the long-range GFS. And I'll be honest, I have not seen anything that makes me think that we're going to see really anything significant. But let's go ahead and call it up for you. Let's just do that, shall we? Alicia got a good rain in Polk, so that's a good thing. All right, so let's go ahead and take the Atlantic, look at the entire Atlantic, and see how things are shaping up over the next couple of weeks. You know, I could look at the long range, but it's such a waste of time. I mean, we ridiculed the GFS in the 10-day outlook. How do you think it's going to be in the 45-day outlook? All right, so here's a look at the GFS. Oh, let's go ahead and take off the graphic. All right. Poof, goodbye, graphic. All right, so here's a look at the GFS. And not a lot going on. Yeah, I don't really see anything in the Gulf. Don't see any cyclogenesis at all. And this takes us through almost to the end of April. And it's really, you got that little low just kind of hanging out there in the ocean, in the Atlantic. See, it's kind of sitting there. Actually, it's retrograding back down southwest. But very little. And unfortunately for us, look at our rain. There's like no rain for us. And that is to be expected in April and May. It just is. The brush fire season is going to get worse before it gets better. Here's the Euro. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Hey, tonight's treat night. I just remembered that. Wendy, you missed the cowboy. Wendy, let me tell you, I kept looking for you. I'm like, Wendy Ryan, the cowboy, we had him on for 20 minutes. Wendy, Wendy is devastated. Wendy Ryan is devastated.
Eliana if he had a cowboy hat on, and she said yes.
He did. He had a cowboy hat, and you know what? He was the sexiest man alive, and you missed him. So, yeah. Yeah, Wendy. I know. I looked out for him. Like, I think Wendy's on her dinner break.
I know, but it's only I purposely rushed back.
Wendy, he was really nice guy. He took a whip, and I had a rose. I wasn't going to put it in my mouth. I wasn't that bold, but I had the rose sticking out there. Here, where's the?
Well, Eliana told me we're gonna run.
And he cut the rose right in half.
You're gonna see him again, but on TV.
Look, Wendy, you're on TV right now.
Oh,
yeah.
hi. I'm so sad.
Yep.
So
He had a cowboy hat and he had a whip and he was dressed in leather. Wendy Ryan, you missed out. You missed out. I know.
It's crushing.
I told you guys. I told you she was going to be devastated.
Horrible. I'm gonna go cry now.
Everybody says hi, Wendy. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go cry now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. She'd been asking for days about this. Real cowboy with a real cowboy hat. I'm like, yeah. He's from Texas.
Oh, that makes it even. He's a real cowboy.
It's a real cowboy. Yep. His fiance was here though, so there might have been, yeah.
He's got a fiance.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So, all right. So, yeah, well, she's married too, Wilda, so you know what? She wanted to meet the cowboy either way. So, all right, guys. Anyway, there you go. I was waiting for Wendy to get back. I knew she'd be happy. I mean, I knew she'd be unhappy. I knew it. I knew it. She really wanted to meet this guy. Anyway, here's a look one more time at the Euro. And nothing. Like, no, she's still out there. I hear her out there. She's really upset. Maybe a little bit of rain in like 10 days. A weak front may come through. So anyway, guys, there you go. That would be it. One more reminder, Tampa Bay Rodeo coming up tomorrow and on Saturday with real cowboys, with real cowboy hats, with ropes, with whips, dressed in leather. There you go. All right. So you guys have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. You guys have a good night. See ya.